Hi, my name is Sonya Britt-Lutter, and I work in the School of Family Studies and Human Services at Kansas State University. And my area of specialization is personal financial planning and financial therapy. Given where I work and the combination of education that I have, I am really interested in the love and money relationship for couples. And there's so much research in this area that could have a huge impact on consumers, and there's a lot of opportunity for researchers to expand this area of research. Some of my most interesting research findings include that couples who argue at the very beginning of their relationship, no matter when that was, that frequency of money arguments predicts relationship satisfaction down the road as actually the top predictor of relationship satisfaction. It's predictive of divorce as well, how much you argue at the beginning of your relationship, but that frequency of arguments at the beginning of the relationship is even more important than how much you're arguing about money currently. So that says a lot for what's going on at the beginning of the relationship and how you're forming your money relationship. A lot of this has to do with conversations about debt. This is especially for young couples who may be coming out of college or maybe are still in college, and talking about student loan debt repayment. If your partner has a large amount of debt and you do not have a large amount of debt, are you going to help your partner repay that debt? And what does that mean for the relationship? And if you're not going to help your partner repay the student loan debt, what does that mean for your relationship and your household financial situation? Because your partner may have less to contribute to the overall household budget. So in effect, you are paying for the student loans by paying a greater proportion of the household finances. And that's something really important for couples to talk about and get on the same page about and really share their values about money. There's a lot to be said about arguments about money and values. It almost always comes down to shared values and different perceptions of money. We also know from research that when both husbands and wives perceive that the wife is overspending, whatever that means, there's a greater frequency of money arguments. And so we know that when the husband perceives the wife as being a spender, the conflict in the house is going to increase. Whether or not the wife is actually overspending is a different story. It's this perception of overspending. Not from my own research, but you'll see from other areas that when the wife has extra money, she tends to spend it on the children and gifts, versus when the husband has extra money, he tends to spend it on entertainment for himself. And so I think a lot of this conflict about perceptions of spending may, in fact, go back to your values and what do you value spending money on. So having those conversations early in the relationship, one of the biggest things I think couples can do when they're very first starting to get serious in their relationship. So either they have become engaged or they've decided to live together, sitting down and looking at each other's credit report and having an honest conversation about what your financial history has looked like and what your financial goals are going forward. The biggest tip that pretty much applies to all areas of the couple relationship is just communicate, talk about what's important to you. That's, of course, much easier said than done. So there's an app by the company Brightpeak Financial, and it's called Together. And it's a really neat app to be able to encourage conversations, and it prompts different conversations, some of which are more serious than others, but it's something you can each do independently on your own device, your phone, your computer, and then come together and have a conversation about what those responses mean to each of you. And so it's a way to have a conversation on a weekly basis or a daily basis if that works into your schedule. Other advice I would have for couples would be, if you are thinking about getting married or maybe you're engaged to be married, I would really recommend that you go through premarital financial counseling, and not just premarital counseling, but premarital financial counseling that has that financial component that'll allow you to have those conversations about money and talk about what your credit looks like, talk about what your financial goals are, and most importantly, talk about what's important to you. What did money mean to you when you were growing up? And how do you want money to represent you in your life together?